Welcome, America. I hope many of you have voted. If you haven't, now's the perfect time. It's Friday. This weekend's the perfect time. Tens of millions of people are doing it. They can't all be wrong. And you know what? I have a feeling that if you vote early, it's more likely that your vote will be counted. We've already heard from Pennsylvania. They say it could take 4 days to get ultimate results because they don't start counting till the polls close. Unlike Florida and Georgia that count as the voting comes in. We've already heard from Phoenix, a.k.a. Maricopa County. It might take them a week. You believe these places? Now we heard from Michigan. It may take them several days past the election. So on election night, everybody's going to be commenting on what they know, but they won't be able to comment on what they don't know, will they? Well, this is the big week, maybe 10 days, 11 days left, where the Democrats are obsessed with Adolf Hitler and fascism. I addressed this on Life, Liberty, and Levin on Saturday. I addressed it on Sunday. I exposed the Democrat Party for being the party today of the neo-Nazis. That's right. The anti-Semites, the Jew haters, the Israel haters, they're the modern-day neo-Nazis. I mean, you hear Netanyahu, you hear Israelis, you hear Jews in this country, and you hear me. You refer to what happened on October 7th as the worst genocide since the Holocaust. And you've heard me talk about these terrorists as Nazis, the Hamas Nazis, the Hezbollah Nazis, the Iranian Nazis. Because that's what they are. And so when Kamala Harris uses blood libels against the Israeli Jews, when she embraces the Hamas civilian death numbers and blames Israel rather than Hamas, when she refuses to undertake her responsibility as vice president to sit at the front with the Speaker of the House when the head of state speaks, in this case Netanyahu, but boycotts him and only him, when she surrounds herself with these Islamist anti-Semites, when her best friend, it turns out, is one of them, when her pastor is another Jew hater. I mean, these people don't just collect around somebody because they want jobs, they want influence. It's because there's pretty much agreement. So the neo-Nazis are in the modern-day Democrat Party. Tlaib, Omar, AOC, yes, even Bernie Sanders and his ilk. The party that cuts off arms from Israel as they're preparing to fight Iran. And as they are fighting Hamas and Hezbollah. Who go on TV and trash the state of Israel and trash the IDF and trash the elected prime minister. They're the neo-Nazis. The Democrat Party is the home of the neo-Nazis. That's correct. Jerry Wartsky is a Auschwitz survivor. He's a Holocaust survivor. He's 94 years old. 94 years old. And he hears this talk about Hitler. He hears Hillary Clinton talking about 1939. Hillary Clinton, who doesn't talk about 2024. 1939, when the neo-Nazis were at Madison Square Garden. And then she wants you to believe that when patriotic Americans who love their country, love the Constitution, love liberty, many of whom are in the military and fight against tyranny. Now MAGA is neo-Nazi, according to her. Hillary Clinton, in the last half century, and this is a big statement, is the most vile, cancerous, poisonous public figure in the United States of America in the last half century. And there's a lot of lowlives, as you well know. But I want you to listen carefully, Mr. Producer. Ramp up the volume, and you folks should raise your volume too. I want you to listen to what this Holocaust survivor has to say. Cut one, go.
My name is Jerry Wartsky. I'm 94 years old and survivor of Auschwitz and the death marches. Adolf Hitler invaded Poland when I was 9 years old. He murdered my parents and most of our family. I know more about Hitler than Kamala will ever know in 1,000 lifetimes. For her to accuse President Trump of being like Hitler is the worst thing I've ever heard in my 75 years living in the United States. I know President Trump, and he would never say this, and Kamala Harris knows this. She owes my parents and everybody else who was murdered by Hitler an apology for repeating this lie.
Why should the Jewish people support President Trump?
Because he's a mensch. I believe that President Trump is definitely going to be good for Israel, because in everything that he's done up to now was in favor. He never double-crossed anyone, and he never showed any weakness. Watching President Trump pray for the hostages at the Ohel and getting to spend time with him so meaningful. He has always stood with the Jewish people and the state of Israel.
What about what the man has to say? Which is 100% correct. Yeah, what about it? It's pretty disgusting what these people are doing. It's a campaign of character assassination. Harris is literally advocating for more of this. She was asked by, Fox's Jackie Heinrich about the Mitch McConnell and Mike Johnson letter, which I'll get to later, calling on her to quit the fascist rhetoric or else risk inviting another assassination attempt on Trump. And you know what she does? She doubles down. I'm going to call him out for what he is. I think I'm the only one that's ever told you that most of the people in the media today and most of the people in the Democrat Party leadership, the apparatchiks, the ruling class, they weren't all that upset that Donald Trump survived 2 assassination attempts. They really weren't. They use these words, Hitler and fascist and all the rest of it. They know they're stoking the worst of the worst. They know the possibility exists that somebody else will take action against Donald Trump. And they keep doing it. They do the same with Netanyahu. They do the same with Supreme Court justices, but especially with Trump. Especially with Trump. Look what they've done to the man already with lawfare, the endless character assassination, the impeachments. Look already what's taking place. George Washington University Law Center. There's a woman there, a professor. She's heading an operation that if Donald Trump's elected, to lead efforts to sabotage his presidency, his administration. In Congress, Jamie Raskin, whose father was a Soviet Red, just as he is. Just as he is. He was involved in every challenge for every Republican since the last 20 years or so. And Jamie the Red has already said that he will move to impeach Donald Trump should he win election and do everything he can to stop him. They're the ones who don't accept elections. They're the ones who don't accept the Constitution. They're a grave danger to this society, and they don't care. They are violent. They point to January 6th. Harris is going to stand there on January 6th, where Donald Trump did, and tell you that he's a threat to America. A threat to America. Sending the signal out to the prosecutors, to the Department of Justice, to their Democrat judges like Chutkan and this woman Giles. Giles, the most radical judge in the Eastern District of Virginia, who rules that, yes, non-citizens have a right to be on the voting rolls, twists the law to accommodate the Department of Justice, which has twisted the law to accommodate the Democrat Party. They want non-citizens to vote. They don't want voter ID. The border's open for a reason, and it's not good government. Kamala Harris has nothing to recommend her for the presidency. She's vapid. She's dumb. She's a radical. She's lying to the American people. It's the most diabolical and evil campaign in American history. That's what it is. And so she gets this letter from Mitch McConnell and Mike Johnson, a public letter saying, please cut it out. And she doubles down. She doubles down. And she's going to do it again on January 6th. She's not going to stand in front of the Portland, Oregon courthouse that was under attack by Antifa and Black Lives Matter and others for 2 months straight. She's not going to stand in front of the land where the police precinct used to exist in Minneapolis that was burned to the ground, thanks to her running mate, who wouldn't call in the National Guard at the request of the Democrat Party mayor. No, she won't stand in any of these places because that's the militia of the Democrat Party at work, just like the Islamists, a.k.a. the neo-Nazis, chasing Jews in colleges and universities, attacking Jews who are exercising their free speech in New York and L.A., attacking synagogues with swastikas and so forth. This is Hillary Clinton's America. This is Kamala Harris's America. This is Jamie Raskin's America, Tlaib's America. It's not our America. It's not our America. Madison Square Garden, all of a sudden, it's only remembered for 1939 when the neo-Nazis were there. Gee, I wonder if Joe Kennedy Sr. was there. He was a neo-Nazi. He supported the Third Reich and Hitler. It was so bad that his ambassador to Britain, FDR, had to yank him. And there were Democrat senators who also worked hard pressuring Hollywood not to run movies about Hitler. Piece done by the Daily Bestiality there. Remember that Daily Bestiality? Think very quiet about that. And then there was Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt, who purposely prevented Jews from immigrating to the United States from Europe. He kept the cap on. It wasn't a matter of increasing the number. It was a matter of allowing the number that had been provided for by law. 90% of the Jews that were provided by law that could have come here were prevented. He had an opportunity when they were bombing Auschwitz. When they were bombing the railroad tracks, to bomb the tracks that were going into Auschwitz and Auschwitz itself. He chose not to. He encouraged the New York Times not to do stories on the Holocaust, so they didn't. The New York Times will do more stories in the coming 48 hours on a Madison Square Garden rally of patriotic Americans, of people who want to make America great again. They'll do more stories on that than they did throughout the Holocaust on the extermination of the Jews. I'm on to these people. I'm going to talk to them in my opening statement and all about them on Saturday night and on Sunday night after the rally at Madison Square Garden. The Democrats don't run on campaigns to tell the American people what they really believe. They lie. They hate the country. They hate our patriots. They hate our monuments. They hate our founders and our framers. They hate our military. They hate the cops. They hate patriotic Americans, hardworking Americans. They hate you. Those of you who support Trump, those of you who are voting for Trump, those of you who attend these events, they want it to be said that you're neo-Nazis. That's what they want. That's what they want. Here we have Donald Trump, a Jewish son-in-law, a daughter who converted to Orthodox Judaism, 3 Jewish grandchildren. Here we have Donald Trump, who signed the only executive order to protect Jewish students under the 1964 Civil Rights Act from violence and intimidation. Bill Clinton didn't sign that. Obama didn't sign that. Biden didn't sign it. It was Trump. And a long list of things that Trump has done to support the state of Israel, the Jewish homeland, the Holy Land. Obama didn't do it. Bill Clinton didn't do it. And Kamala Harris is busy cozying up to Iran, is busy cozying up to the violent Palestinians, while she trashes the Israelis and seeks the support from the Jew haters in our own country, whether they be in Dearborn, Michigan, or elsewhere. They're the neo-Nazis.